What is up, everybody? Welcome to the push. This is a very strange late edition. Not only is it late in terms of late in the week, but it's also past our normal streaming time. We're starting today, as you can see. El
We're
Capitan.
like the Nick at Night.
Yeah, we're Nick at Night tonight. We're the push at night. The push after hours. As you can see, unfortunately, Cap could not be with us tonight. He got caught up with work, with the NBA finals happening. He's busy as a motherfucker. So with that, we will carry on in his memory this week. Keep it short, sweet, to the point. We're going to hop right into things. First things up, we had a semi-premium live event, if you will.
/ revival of
Kind
classic
of.
program.
Yeah, this past week, Saturday night main event was a thing. We had matches.
Yes.
It was wrestling. It was
It
it went as good as you could think it would.
was a glorified house show.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Saturday night main event tends to just be that way. That being said, who wants to take it away first?
Well, we can start with the opening match of the evening, that being Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. Too many Brauns in this goddamn. I've already made the Braun.
Yeah.
So much brawny men. Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn in an opening tag match. It was good. It went by a lot quicker than I thought it did. And speaking of a lot of Brauns, this saw the return of Bronson Reed back from his, quite frankly, horrifying injury that he suffered a while back. But he looks like he's joining up with Seth and Braun's new faction, making him the third man, as it were, out of God knows how many. Which is funny because, Scott, I think you mentioned this earlier, like the night of Saturday night's main event in our Discord, when we were trying to figure out who's going to be the third man of this new faction, and none of us even guessed it would be Bronson Reed. But it's one of those things that after it happened, you just say to yourself, oh yeah, fucking obvious, isn't it?
That's the best kind of twist. You know, it's like the one that
Yeah.
nobody sees coming. And if I remember correctly, he did kind of go a little tsunami crazy at the end and hit Punk with a bunch of tsunamis.
Multiple.
Yeah.
He hit him with so many tsunamis. I was expecting Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze to show up in one of them. Little Point Break humor there for you folks tonight.
I mean, all in all, the matches were good. What did you think, Scott?
Wow, yeah. I honestly thought Bronson Reed was gonna be gone for a bit longer. I heard something about a year, and I don't even know if it's been a year yet.
I mean, it's pretty close to it. He's been out for a hot minute.
This is perfect. They got someone another.
Both of his ankles when he did that cage spot at War Games.
Yeah.
Which, again, Jesus goddamn Christ.
Yeah, he. The only thing I want to know, and people have been asking this on TikTok. You guys didn't leave off on such a good notice, so I would like to know a little bit of a storyline of how he started to side with you, or how he wanted to side with you during Saturday night. But it definitely makes it scary because not only do you have the ferocity and speed of Braun Breaker, try not to fuck up the names. You also have the sheer like tank wall that is Bronson Reed, and this is a lot better than Akam and Razar. These guys actually like have a personality.
They have personality. They can cut promos, and they're fucking terrifying.
And they also have Paul Heyman, who's apparently willing to throw hands with anyone.
Yeah,
because he still has that.
I'm pretty sure to what Scott was saying. I think Heyman cut a promo on Monday, like talking about it, like that. I think he talked Bronson Reed into joining, kind of thing.
I mean, hey, it's a good way to get Bronson's momentum back after his injury. You know, like he's still like in the upper mid card.
Mm-hmm. The dude is just terrifying.
He's still like his feud. He's still presented as yeah, and like having him be another one of the enforcers to this faction that has not been named yet it's a great way for him to still be the monster that he was before he went away.
Absolutely.
Good.
But yeah, that being said, let's move on to the next match. We had a women's United States Championship match between Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green. This match was not so good from what I've seen. I didn't really get to watch Saturday Night Main Event. I just saw a lot of clips of it.
Same.
But I know this match, I think, barely went 5 minutes, if that.
I mean, Zelina won with a top rope destroyer.
That was impressive, but getting there was a mess. Because, like,
yeah.
Zelina botched the 619, which she made her de facto, like,
finisher now. It's her thing now, yeah.
Like a signature. But it's like how, like, you're taking this move and you making it your own, but then, like, you can't botch it like that. Like, she just didn't get enough oomph on the swing, and then proceeded to kick Chelsea Green in the face and break her nose.
Yikers Island.
Like, to make up for the fact that she didn't get the full rotation on the 619, so she just fucking kicked her right in the mouth. Because you could see it at the end of the match after she hit that. I mean, the destroyer was impressive. That was impressive. But
that was the most remarkable thing about it.
That was the biggest part of the match. Like, that was the only thing. But you could see it after that when Zelina rolls out of the ring and starts walking up. They cut back to Chelsea Green, and she's just gushing from her nose.
Yeah. There were a couple of camera shots where she was just gushing.
Yeah, but like I said, it was a whatever match. It like barely went 5 minutes, if that, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, that was it. Scott, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah. I don't know. It's the same thing. There's just nothing going on with the women's division, except if you're a main title holder. I feel like that's the only way. We talk. There's just nothing different happening. It's the same thing. None of them can bring off a good match, and it also doesn't help that this is also the second time they went into each other. So I kind of liked the no rematch clause thing that they're still doing. Surprisingly enough, that they're still doing it, but some matches shouldn't be.
Like, they bring it up and they're like, "Oh, there's no more rematch clause," but then people are getting rematches immediately anyway. So
continuity. Boom.
Yeah. And then on top of that, like I said, it's like I kind of agree with Scott with this one. My main thing is I don't think it's a lack of quality. It's more, like I said, they were only given like 5 minutes for a match that probably could have gone longer. Because Chelsea Green is a great wrestler. Zelina is pretty good. Like, she's very good. Not to discredit her in any way, but like, I don't know. The match could have been a lot better. I just feel like it wasn't given enough.
Yeah. It felt very much piss break match.
Yeah.
Because of everything else in the show, which is what we are going to get to.
Exactly. Every other match in the show was like given more time, given a lot more. It seems like it got a lot more effort, and then this just got nothing.
Yeah. Which is sad to say because I like both ladies involved, but you know how it goes. Speaking of the next match, do you mind if I give the description, gentlemen?
Go for it.
Next up, we have our undisputed WWE champion, John Cena, Injustice Cena himself, going up against R-Truth, who must unfortunately take the fight to his childhood hero.
What are you talking about? I didn't see R-Truth. I saw Ron Cena.
My mistake. Ron the Truth Cena has made his triumphant return. The only thing that could have made this better is if he came out as pay quick.
Cena.
I'm not gonna lie, it threw me off when Cena came to the ring, right? And then his music stopped and then started again. And I was like, wait a second, what the fuck? And then they cut to the fucking entrance ramp, and here comes Truth doing a John Cena, basically a John Cena cosplay. But then I was so busy laughing, I completely missed the fact that his shirt said Ron Cena.
Ron Cena.
What?
Yeah,
I mean,
Ron.
first things first, I need that shirt. Honestly, I never thought I'd get a John Cena shirt, but if it's R-Truth on there, then
But it's
oh
not
my
a John
god, that
Cena
shirt's
shirt, it's a Ron
amazing.
Cena shirt.
I mean, there's no
It's Ron the Truth
there's no
Cena.
surprise that there's no surprise that he would do something like this.
He's done it before.
I mean,
Yeah.
we never usually see face wrestlers with mental warfare, even though this probably wasn't thought of as mental
I was
warfare.
gonna say,
But
from
just the
Truth's
fact that
perspective,
he
it was not mental warfare. This is him being
No,
snap
but-
some sense back into his childhood hero.
Yeah, it's
oh my
him
god.
It's
I
him
mean-
trying to do a
I mean, it definitely hurts the fact that John Cena's trying to ruin wrestling because this really fucking made wrestling better.
But that's what I'm saying.
During
I feel
this
like
whole-
that's the whole point of the "I'm ruining wrestling" thing. Is it's not going to work out, and that's the funny part. But because I did like that they were like teasing, like the hesitation with Cena.
with the belt shot, yeah.
So
And
that's
then it
what I'm saying.
immediately
It's like,
goes into an AA.
I really feel like by SummerSlam he's gonna turn face again.
Maybe.
You know, he's gonna
Oh.
like, snap out of it.
I finally remember. I think the John Cena's heel turn is not really a heel turn. We're basically seeing a different persona because the real John Cena is currently still trapped in the Firefly Funhouse.
Oh god. That's
He got
that's
brick
an-
one house,
that's
and it
an
created a dark
interesting
clone of him.
theory. Like that's a cool theory
And-
that I could see them like turning around and maybe messing around with,
Oh, so it's the clone saga.
especially since the Wyatt 6 just came back.
So we have to go back into the Firefly Funhouse and get the real John Cena.
And apparently they say the only way Uncle Howdy is the key to beating him or stopping it. So maybe there's a possibility that he gets a title shot,
I mean, that's a good chance.
or is the cause of John Cena losing a
the
title shot?
and
but-
then we'll get
Yeah.
a feud with Cena and Uncle Howdy.
I would be down for that.
I mean, that's not a terrible idea.
It is
I mean,
very much
I
not
don't-
a terrible idea.
I don't see John Cena holding this title for the entire year.
That's what I'm saying.
Honestly,
Like, I feel like by SummerSlam he's gonna have like a change of heart and everything, and like I feel like it might come at the cost of the title. Like he'll lose the title to a face and then realize he's been wrong this whole time. You know, and then we'll probably have like one more Cena Rock match.
Cena match will be the outcome of a Goldberg Undertaker match. Just a
You think it's a-
disaster.
No,
And watching just two old men who really don't really have it that much just
See,
wrestle and
here's the thing: like Cena still can go. You know, obviously not.
Cena
as
can
much
still
as,
go.
not as
Rock,
much as he used
yeah.
to. Rock didn't look bad when they had the tag team match at Mania. Like he handled himself well. I feel like.
I don't know. For me, it felt like The Rock he was really slow. I felt like he was a lot slower.
Well, yeah, that happened.
And
when
he
you
was
haven't
just-
fucking been in the ring in forever. But like,
Yeah.
I don't think it would be as bad as Goldberg and Taker. You know, because like I said, both of them can still kind of go to the point where, you know, and neither one of them have a move crazy enough that they could botch as bad as the jackhammer. You know,
Exactly.
like, you know, neither
Yeah.
one of them have moves that like suspend somebody in the air other than like the AA. But
That's the craziest
and
move.
Cena can still fucking hit like the heaviest motherfuckers with that.
Yeah. The craziest move Cena has in his arsenal is his Canadian Destroyer.
Which he like almost never uses.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
So there's that.
But anyway, either way, it should be interesting to see where they go with Cena from here. because I think we won't see him for a little bit. I don't think we'll see him until SummerSlam.
I think he might be at Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
I'm not going to
I
put
think
all my
there's going to
chips
be
on
a.
that.
I think there's for Cena. I think there's going to be a tag match.
Oh, you know what? You're right. It's fucking Cody
Him
and
and
Jay.
Logan.
Cody and Jay versus Logan and Cena, which is the spoiler for the end of the night. But whatever.
Yeah, Cody's
That
back.
happens at the end of this match. At the end of the pay per
We'll
view.
talk about. There's some stuff that happened at Raw that we'll talk about after
No, it wasn't at Raw.
Saturday night.
Wasn't it on at the end of this? At the end of Saturday night's main event?
Well, there's multiple
but
things that happened.
yeah.
We also had the Wyatt Six return.
Yeah. But anyway, the next match on the card, we had Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre in a steel cage, which, honestly, if they want to just keep exploiting this feud to put on fucking banger matches to put asses in seats, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because,
This was so brutal. It was
This was
great.
fun. This was a fun one.
I mean, like, these two put on insanely devastating looking matches without the assistance of a steel cage, and the cage just made it so much more.
Well, that's how it works when you're just two big, beefy men slapping beef.
Yeah.
And it's just the best person to do it is Damian Priest because for some reason he keeps getting these like these matches that don't really do him any good. It doesn't really bump him up or anything. But like, oh my god, every single time he has to get back into that main roster category. He's just, I mean, Drew, I understand because he's kind of older and he had his time and not everybody's behind him anymore because his persona is kind of
In
not as
flux.
hot as it used to be.
It's not even
Yeah.
that. He's had that same persona for so long. It's just like whatever. Like he exists.
It's like,
I mean,
like
at
Drew,
least he's not Dolph Ziggler's bodyguard anymore.
Yeah, like Drew.
Yeah.
Can I still think Drew can easily have another world title run.
Yeah.
And which
yeah, definitely.
I still really feel bad for the dude because he still has yet to have that in front of a real crowd. Because you got to remember his world title run was the COVID era, so he was still in the Thunderdome, and he lost the title by the time the crowds came back.
And then we got the other world title from Seth at Mania 40. That lasted, 40 seconds?
I think it was a total of about 4 minutes and change. I think they said it was less than 5
It was
minutes.
really funny.
It was hilarious,
But
though.
I mean, when I talk brutal, I mean, I'm talking fucking, Priest hitting McIntyre with a fucking concerto. Which I'm actually
Jesus Christ.
really glad he's still using that from Edge in the beginning, like callback to like the beginning of Judgment Day.
He makes it look so brutal.
I know.
It's just,
he does
oh my god.
Edge ever did.
Yeah.
That's what I was really hoping somebody else agreed with me because I was about to say that
Well, he did it all
looks
the
so much better than Edge.
Yeah.
He did it all the time when he was punishing Rodriguez.
That is true. He was using it a lot in the Indies.
Yeah. So he has experience with it.
He might be referred to as bisexual Undertaker, but he's amazing.
I was thinking of that earlier.
Oh my god. I wasn't sure at first when he first went into the main roster because it was kind of like an awkward piece into the main roster, but he grew in very well. As soon as we started getting betrayed by the New Day, it was like not by the New Day, by the Judgment Day.
No, yeah.
Different day.
As soon as he started getting betrayed by them, he kind of started going along as everybody's like top favorites.
No, yeah. Damian is yet again like I said, he's on the same line as Drew McIntyre for me. Is like he's 100% a future world champion again. Obviously, like I know he has been one, but he deserves another title reign
as a face.
Both of these guys deserve to have multiple world title reigns in their future
as faces.
Honestly, I could see Damian, yes, face, but Drew can kind of go either way. I could see Drew being like a good heel champion.
Yeah.
But he needs to
That's true.
Like the same brutality that he has in this feud with Damian Priest, he needs to just carry that over to any feud he's in. Like he needs to be a fucking animal in like every feud.
go full on Highlander and take a guy's head off.
That's 100%.
He also needs to stop the victim gimmick.
Yeah, that's the one thing. My one irk with his current heel run is like everything is poor. Like it should have been me or poor.
Why
me,
does this
whatever.
keep happening to me?
Exactly. But either way,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. Honestly, I think this was my match of the night.
Yeah.
Was this cage match?
It did everything that a cage match should, and
it
then
checked all the
some.
boxes for me. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was brutal. It was fucking and like. It was great. It was everything you want a steel cage match to be.
And really, who could ask for more than that?
Yeah.
Well,
And finally,
there was one person that wanted more. He wanted apparently Jesse Ventura wanted Damian Priest to climb off of the cage instead of just walking
instead of
out,
going through the door.
yeah.
But
which kind of shows how much into being politics and he's been in, because the fact that he didn't know you could just walk out of a cage match.
yeah, he didn't. He doesn't.
It's
Understand
kind of
the
been a thing
concept
for
of
a
the
while.
door on a steel cage match.
Well, when he was doing the.
In all fairness, when he was doing steel cage matches, there wasn't a door.
Yeah, that's back when they used Old Blue.
Yeah.
True.
So that's
Yeah.
he never liked the concept of adding the door to the steel cage, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
No,
I like Old Blue, but
I can see where he's coming from.
It makes it a little too easy, but at the same time, it also opens up for a bunch of good spots.
What's the cage? I thought they were going to. Yeah. When they announced the cage match, with the whole retro feel they had for Saturday Night's main event, I thought they were going to.
at the blue one too. Honestly,
Yeah.
I know exactly where you're going with that, and I'm like, yeah. When they said Saturday Night Main Event and Steel Cage in the same sentence, I'm like,
Are we getting Old Blue?
yeah. I mean, that would be cool. Or even like if they just painted the new one blue, like I would have been okay with that. Give it like that retro vibe, but it's still new.
Yeah. Still, I'm glad with what we got.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool.
And then all that's left for Saturday night is our main event.
The main event of Saturday Night's main event.
This is why Cap didn't want to be here.
Because we were going
Because
to praise.
talk about Logan Paul.
Oh God, yeah. Oh man.
I can safely say.
What?
I can safely say that we didn't. None of us could have predicted all the stuff that was going to be added
No, but Jey Uso did ultimately defeat
at the end of the
Logan
match
Paul.
with Cena.
It was a good match, and he countered his lion salt and stuff, and it was exactly what I expected this match to be: high energy and fast moving. I don't know. I feel like Scott's gonna love this because I'm jumping on the fucking Jey Uso hate wagon. I feel like his super kicks look worse and worse as time goes on. Like he's just not hitting them the way they used to.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, it's like the cynical mark in me wants to say you've seen one Jey Uso super kick, you've seen them all. Tag team or no tag team. You know what I mean?
It
No,
looks
but I'm
like he
saying, like-
struggles to do it every
Yeah.
time, and he just like, oh, let's see how high I can go, and that's
It's
good
not
enough.
even that. It's like he doesn't extend his leg. Like his knee is still bent when he picks his leg up and everything. Like you look at his old super kicks, they were a lot better. Like back when the Usos were still together, right? Like they looked better.
Yeah.
And like, especially when you compare them to like Michaels or even the Bucks, like they fully extend their leg. Like it's full extent. It looks like you're really fucking kicking somebody in the head.
Yeah.
Or
KO.
Jay is and KO, but like Jay is like, he kind of looks like a doll. His knee would at least like kind of give that leeway. It will protect the both of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it just looks shitty. But that's just me. I don't know. Anyway, we did get a return. We have the return of Cody Rhodes.
And you can tell he means business because he was wearing a windbreaker instead of a suit.
Yeah, like Cody.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Cody
man.
has such an obsession with his image. He went to fucking Universal Studios to go check out like the new Epic Universe stuff in a suit.
Yeah.
This dude refuses to be seen anywhere.
I can't.
He's like a Kingsman agent. He has to wear a suit.
If he knows he's going to be on camera, he wears a suit. I'm like, dude, you're at a fucking amusement park. Chill the fuck out. Like,
It's all about
Yeah.
the branding, Dom.
no, I know, but it's like Brandy was wearing like jeans and a t-shirt, and he's out here in a fucking 3-piece suit. Like, dude, I get it. Like, you're a fucking celebrity and you're protecting your image, but you're in an amusement park, my guy. Like, calm the fuck down.
This, I don't know. I felt like the whole pay-per-view for Saturday Night Live was
Saturday
just
main
a
event.
bunch of matches that none of them Saturday Night Main Event. None of them really mattered.
No,
I feel like this was
Saturday
just
night's main event is just a glorified house show.
Glorified house
You
show.
know, you're never really gonna see
yeah.
anything crazy. Like, you'll get some good
I don't
matches. And
really see the. I mean, it was good for like a every once in a while thing,
yeah,
but
that's why. Like, it's not a pay per view.
it looks like we're going to be getting more of them because we're getting ones in July,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to make these matches a little better because,
Yeah.
I mean, I know Logan Paul and Jey Uso isn't really something it's not really anything but anybody wanted to see for a main event for that title because I mean I'm on the hate, the captain of the hate wagon with Jey Uso, but I don't know. I feel like Logan Paul deserves to get to get a title shot against someone with a better name
or at least beat
than Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think he should have beaten Jey Uso, but that's probably to come later.
Yeah.
But
Not
we
a
did
Saturday
get
night's main event.
Cena coming out to attempt to help Logan Paul win the title and ruin wrestling, which is when we got Cody Rhodes coming to save the day.
In a windbreaker.
Yep. I don't know if it was the right time to bring Cena back. You know what I mean? I mean, not Cena. Cody.
Cody? Yeah.
I think they could have waited a little longer. Just a little bit, not too much.
They probably wanted to do it to pop the crowd and see, like, this isn't like, it's not just a glorified house show. We had a big moment on it. I'm like, I get that, but like,
But at the same time, it's like you wanted to sell Cody being out. You might as well go big. But anyway, that being said, that was Saturday night's main event. And as we saw on Monday, we do have a match confirmed for Money in the Bank next month, which is Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus John Cena and Logan Paul. In a tag team match, which should be interesting.
It's going to be entertaining no matter what.
Yeah.
You look at all those guys involved.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be entertaining. It is what it is, It's a great way to get Cena to just boost sales, and he doesn't have
He's showing up more than people thought he would.
Yeah. Well, he said he gave a list of dates that he was going to be at. So
Right.
it was expected. But that being said, the one other thing I did want to talk about that happened on Monday night was we did get the return of the Wyatt Six.
Welcome back.
Oh, no, excuse me. That was Friday.
That was Friday.
It
was on an episode of SmackDown, right, Scott?
SmackDown. Yeah. Because they did.
Yeah, I think so.
In their hiatus, they were transferred to SmackDown because that's where Alexa Bliss is.
It's not hard to see where that's going.
Yeah, but the Wyatt Six did return, and they interrupted a tag team match between what was it, the Street Profits and
was it the Guns?
I think it was the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
Interrupted the match, and interesting look for the rest of them because Bo Dallas was wearing his Uncle Howdy mask, but everybody else wasn't wearing their masks, which was new.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too.
Because I was like, oh, they're not wearing masks, but they had makeup on.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, I'm happy to see them back. It was also Bray Wyatt's birthday that Friday.
Oh.
So at the end, after they beat the ever-living fuck out of everybody in the ring and at ringside, they got into the ring for their pose, and they brought out like a little cake for Bray, which I thought was interesting. And they did the usual, the thing that they always do with Bray when he had like the lantern and he would blow it out and everything would cut to black. They did that with the birthday candle, so I thought that was kind of nice.
I thought it was sweet.
It was, it was a little touching moment. I liked it, and
Yeah.
I did see a lot of stuff on the IWC that people are saying it's like stop exploiting Bray's death, and I'm like, yes, I get that, but you got to remember this is his real life brother
On his birthday.
Like, why would he not pay homage to his older brother, who is no longer with us?
It was just right for that particular moment.
Exactly.
And I mean, I don't really what they mean by stop using his name. I mean, the only time his name is ever really used is when finisher is being used.
Yeah.
You don't really honor him any other way except for knowing his characters come from him.
Exactly.
And the name of the faction,
that's the whole thing is like, because they were like, oh, because it was his birthday and they had the cake. They're like, oh, they don't need to exploit his birthday to get views. I'm like, dude, they didn't even bring it up until the end.
Nobody knew
if
who was they were returning.
They opened up the show with like, oh, it's Bray Wyatt's birthday today. Let's rest in peace, Bray, and whatever. And they would have made it a whole thing for the whole night. And this was a nod to him at the very end of the show. It was right before they went off the air. So it really, I don't think it's like an exploitation of his name. It's more,
good.
I think people just need something to fucking...
We came back on this day and we're going to remember Bray on the day of a return.
I do have something kind of... Dom's not going to like this, but I do have something negative about the Wyatts.
Mm.
And it's really, I hope they fix it. I hope it doesn't get worse throughout the years, but I feel like there's a bit of a curse when it comes to Bray Wyatt and his characters.
Okay.
We saw Bray Wyatt, the fact that every time he got a big opportunity, every time something was going, he would get injured or something would happen that he would have to be in hiatus for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It happened multiple times. That's a big reason why the Firefly Funhouse persona couldn't really get off the ground, because every time they tried shooting it out, he got hurt and they had to delay it. And now I'm kind of seeing the same thing happen with Bo Dallas and the Wyatt Six. And it's a good thing that they have Alexa Bliss now in the same roster with them, because she does need to join the group. And she does need to be like a co-captain.
You're afraid that the Wyatt Six are going to have the rug pulled out from under them all the time.
They need to stop punishing. They need to stop punishing the entire group just because one person gets injured. They need to keep going. Even if Bo Dallas is injured, they have to keep going.
No,
and if you have someone like Alexa Bliss, who was already shown to be like a leader in the group, it would be perfect for her to take over in moments that Bo Dallas needs to get healed.
Yeah.
And it would be great. It would be a great time having them in the story, and then having Uncle Howdy randomly pop up in the show and as a return, helping their buddies out.
No, not even that. Because like you look back to like the early days of the Wyatt family, right? When Bray first made his way up onto the main roster, it was just him, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan, right?
Yeah.
Bray was injured for most of that. Like all the matches where it was just Harper and Rowan kicking the fuck out of everybody and Bray just sitting there in a rocking chair, that was because he like broke his ankle and he couldn't wrestle. But that's why he had the chair. That was the whole point of that. So it's like I don't understand why, because I agree with you, Scott. Actually, surprisingly, I know.
God help us all.
Bray was unfortunately.
I always get agreed with.
Very underbooked, in my opinion. Like Vince never booked him properly. Like he gave him everything he wanted to a point where it's like, because Bray had a lot of creative freedom where most people didn't. He was allowed to just do whatever he wanted and would never get in trouble because he sold tickets. But my big irk with the way Vince booked Bray was he would get put in a feud, and he would be a monster. He would be devastating. He would destroy everybody in his path.
And then he'd lose.
And then he would lose when it mattered most.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the same thing, like he comes back, after being let go, and then he's rehired, and he comes back as Firefly Funhouse Bray, and this and that. And, like, that was a whole thing. And, like, this is where we disagree. I feel like it did get off the ground, and The Fiend was over. You forget he was Universal Champion for a while, but unfortunately lost to Goldberg in like fucking 2 minutes, which was stupid. But whatever. But they just needed to move that. But they needed to move the title.
Goldberg cursed it after that.
But that's the thing. Is like they just needed to move that title off of him because they didn't want. I forget the logic behind it. I think it was they didn't want him losing to Roman for whatever reason, but they'd rather him lose to Goldberg. I don't know. I don't remember the logic there.
But then he lost to Roman like right after.
Yeah.
I think the next match right after Goldberg was like after KO.
It was weird. Yeah. It was a weird thing. I don't remember. It was just because I know it was mainly because they wanted to give the Saudis like a thing to pop about because it wasn't
because they love Goldberg.
It was that crown jewel, and they fucking love Goldberg in Saudi. So they wanted to give, even though he's Jewish, which is strange.
Because they don't pay attention.
But
they tried to get Yokozuna to show up, and they didn't know he's fucking dead.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, so there's that, and then, but that was the whole thing with Bray. It's like I felt like he was never booked properly, like to the way he should have been. But that could just be my bias talking.
I actually think you're onto something with that one.
Because, like I said, it was like he would be amazing building the feud, and then he would just crap out right at the end. And then, like Scott said, it was like towards the end, it was, when he became the Fiend, and then Alexa betrayed him. That was when I believe he got COVID, so he was out for a little while, and then him and Bo Dallas were planning a comeback thing, and then he had issues with his heart.
Which led to his tragic passing.
Which led to his death. And then Bo got... because Bo Dallas was re-signed in secret. No one knew he got signed back to WWE at the time, and they were supposed to debut together. Because that's when they started teasing the whole Uncle Howdy thing. And it was just ever since... He had COVID, and his health was declining ever since.
Right.
And that's what killed him, unfortunately. Because if I remember correctly, I think he had a heart attack in his sleep.
It was heart failure.
Yeah, he had like congestive heart failure in his sleep, and that's just what got him.
Damn.
I think it was a clogged artery, or one of the valves in his heart wasn't working good due to COVID.
Yeah, it was something weird like that, but
yeah,
something
scary too.
It is. It's terrifying, but that was that whole thing, and like what Scott said is that I don't understand why the rest of the Wyatt Six was off TV for so long while Bo was injured. Like, you couldn't just have like a tag match or something
with
every now and
Bo
then
in the rocking chair instead of like Bray did.
Not even that. Like, Bo doesn't even need to be there. Like, you could have him like backstage on like fucking on a monitor, like cut a fucking promo, and
lurking
then,
in the shadows.
Yeah, exactly. And then you could have had like Dexter Lumis and
power show when it comes to speaking on the mic, but Eric Rowan can do it.
I mean, listen,
he was one of the OGs. He should be able to just take over as leader.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Rowan,
if he's out.
Yeah, Rowan was never really super great on the mic because, like, look at his history. He was always the back guy for Bray, who fucking was legendary on the mic. When him and Luke Harper had their tag team with the Bludgeon Brothers, they barely ever cut promos. And when they did,
Luke
did most of the talking for most of their promos. And then that was it. That's all he ever had. So, and then, but like Joe Gacy cut good promos. Joe Gacy used to cut some killer promos in NXT. They were
with Dexter Lumis.
And, well, Dexter didn't really speak.
He was more of a body language type of guy.
But, Joe Gacy used to cut Bray-level fucking promos in NXT. So it's like they could have him do that shit, and then Nikki Cross isn't terrible on the mic.
Nikki is the same thing with Dexter Loomis. Her body language does the talking
It
for
was
her.
because she was like she had that whole like crazy persona thing
Yeah.
going on, but like bringing Alexa in is probably the best course of action for them because then they do have another person to cut promos because
Exactly.
Alexa is a natural on the mic.
Mhm. She
So,
bleeds charisma.
yeah, I'm very interested to see what they're
Yeah.
doing. Speaking of Alexa, I'm interested to see what the hell they're doing with her and Charlotte because it seems like they're gonna start feuding the two of them now.
Looks like it.
What I don't know, but it is what it is. I'm hoping that now
Right,
that
Charlotte's not injured yet.
yeah, yeah, right. Well, she didn't win a title and lose it to get injured. I am interested to see that now that they're the Wyatt Six and Alexa Bliss are on the same show now. I'm interested to see where they go. So that's gonna be interesting. And then I'm also just interested to see what they do with the Wyatts at this point because my main concern and my main worry for them is the same thing I said when they first introduced the Wyatt Six is how long do they go without Bray before they lose that magic? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, because I know a big part of what made them so good is Bo is going off of what Bray had planned out for them. Because this was apparently always on their radar. Like, this was something that they had planned before Bray died. You know, this was supposed to be the Wyatt Six was always a thing. It was always going to be these same people. It was just that Bray was the sixth man. He was, you know what I mean. It was Uncle Howdy was always supposed to be the one in charge, and Bray was the muscle. Well, the Fiend was the muscle, but
Probably would have had Alexa Bliss instead of Nikki Cross.
no, I don't know if it was. I think it was supposed to be Nikki from the beginning.
Alexa was going to go back to doing what
Alexa
she did pre.
Well, not even that. Alexa wasn't in the company at the time. She had stepped away to have her baby.
Yeah.
When the Wyatts
married, child, all that in one.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that being said, we do have some news regarding our next PLE. Money in the Bank.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
It is next week. Got a week from tomorrow. No,
a week from Saturday.
Excuse, I keep losing track of what day it is. But yeah, we got only 9 days to go, and we got Money in the Bank, which will be very interesting. I honestly, one of my favorite non-Big Four pay-per-views is Money in the Bank, and it kind of sucks to hear that like Triple H is like very kind of against it for the most part.
Yes.
He said he never liked the idea of Money in the Bank as a whole.
But it's so good.
I know, but it's just his thing, you know, because you got to remember, Money in the Bank was Edge's idea. Jericho, excuse me.
Yeah.
It was Jericho's idea. He sold it to Vince, and then Vince always just liked the idea of it. But I think Triple H's issue with it is more of like the prop itself than anything else.
It's because Jericho thought of it.
Probably.
Speaking of Scott, you spoke up earlier. I believe you have a Scott take for us, good sir.
Oh yeah. Before we get into the participants for Money in the Bank, the ones that we have so far, our number one guy and stupidest man on earth when it comes to wrestling, Vince Russo, had a. I don't know how old this is. I'm basing it off because I saw it. It's completely fucking stupid. He says I'm going to try to do it without looking at my phone at my notes. He's basically saying that WWE is terrible now. It's basically just match after match after match with no storytelling, no fresh ideas. You know what? Let me try to get it. WWE, WWE is not good. Good. All you're gonna get is match after match. No stories, no cliffhangers, or any ideas into the show.
Mm.
Is that it?
No. Yeah, I think I
What?
got frozen. Hold on, let
Oh,
me just join back in real quick.
hello?
He dropped because I think his Discord froze on him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. It freezes whenever I go off of it now.
It's
I
all
don't know why
good.
it does that, but anyway,
Uh,
I don't. I you've been. I just.
no, Scott, listen.
This is something. This is something a new wrestling fan would say. This is something that not Vince Russo, who actually knows something. I mean,
It,
I would think he knows at
you
least
think
enough
so,
to
right?
know that just because, like, what are you saying? Oh, there's going to be more matches. Yeah, that's what it was like when you had in Hulk Hogan's era.
Mm-hmm.
You had like 10 matches and you barely had promos, and you saw match after match, and it was actually doing a very good job. But this isn't back then, because now, you don't need to tell the story on the mic, or you don't have to take 20 to 30 minutes at a time trying to tell your story. You can do a lot of storytelling while you're in the ring wrestling. As you're fighting, you can make your own promos in the middle of there. You can do your own stuff as you're wrestling. It doesn't only have to
Yeah.
be like, I don't understand. Like, I don't want to have a 2.5 or 3 hour show on Raw and have half of it them talking on the mic. That would be boring. That makes people want to go away.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole reason the PG
Well,
era was doing so bad,
see,
is
but here's
because
the
it was
thing.
mostly talking and barely any fighting.
You also have to remember Russo is like on payroll with AEW.
No, he's not. They hate him too.
Do they really? I thought he was like fucking getting money from them.
Nope. No one wants anything to do with Vince Russo.
Oh. Okay, never mind. I take it back.
Yeah, no.
Well,
And
but
Scott,
he does be sucking fucking AEW's dick like hardcore.
I
Like
have not.
every every match is a fucking 5-star match from him.
That's Dave Meltzer. Vince Russo, I have not heard Vince Russo say anything positive about any modern wrestling. And I was trying to say, Scott, you said earlier you don't understand why he says the things he does.
It's because he's a fucking
Dude,
mark.
it's not even, this is the guy who gave us the Judy Bagwell on the forklift match.
Yeah, that's also true.
This is the guy who gave us the entirety of Bash at the Beach 2000. This is the guy who gave us blank on a pole match.
And basically he's the reason WCW failed.
There are a lot of reasons, but he is the main one. He is the main one.
Yeah.
So again, we're a wrestling podcast at this point. We're legally allowed to talk about Vince Russo. It's a rite of passage for up and comers such as ourselves. But yeah, like, don't try and waste your time trying to understand this guy, Scott.
Yeah, he'll just hurt your brain.
Men more seasoned than us have tried and failed.
Yeah. That being said, well, let's look at some Money in the Bank stuff. So as we spoke earlier, obviously we're not going to go into predictions just yet. That we'll save that for next week. We do have Cody, like we mentioned earlier, with Cody Rhodes and Jay versus John Cena and Logan Paul. The men's and women's Money in the Bank match, and then the only other match that's been announced so far is another Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But as of right now, the matches aren't fully stocked just yet. According to WWE's website, we have...
I was about to ask.
What? What were you about to ask?
No, I was about to ask the brackets for both the Money in the Bank matches aren't full, right?
No, they are not full yet. As of right now, there's 4 superstars for each. Are they doing a 5-man ladder match this year or 6?
I think they're sticking with 6.
I was gonna say, because sometimes they've changed it. There's been years where they did 5. But anyway, so far the men who qualified for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, we have Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Seth Rollins, and Penta. Solo was the first one to clinch a spot because Jacob Fatu and Jack Cobb helped Solo.
JC Mateo.
Yeah, whatever. He's Jack Cobb.
It's Jeff Cobb, dude.
It's JC Mateo, Francis.
You're fucking JC Mateo, okay?
Ye-
They helped him beat Jimmy Uso and Rey Fenix. LA Knight beat Aleister Black and Shinsuke Nakamura, which I honestly thought Aleister Black was going to win that one.
Yeah.
Penta beat Dragon Lee and Chad Gable. And then
Shocking.
Yeah, I know. Seth Rollins beat Sami Zayn and Finn Balor. Which, in that match, we had a callback to Dom Mysterio turning on Rhea Ripley. And did the same thing to Finn Balor, where he slid the chair into the ring, right smack in the middle between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. And Finn was a little too slow to get to his feet to pick up the chair and got stomped right into it.
I feel like this happened already with the same two people.
Well, it did in a way, because Dom did the same thing with Rhea, because he slid the chair into the ring, but it was out of position, so Rhea got hit with Liv Morgan's Oblivion onto the chair and cost her the title.
God, can this feud between Dom and Finn just happen already?
I know. I think it's coming to a head very soon now with everything going on with Roxanne Perez. Because I think that's a whole thing, but I think Liv is playing Finn on that one. But speaking of Roxanne Perez and Rhea Ripley, the women that qualified for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, we have Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, and Julia. Honestly, the women's match is more stacked than the men's right now. So the little fun fact here for you: the women's Money in the Bank briefcase has a 100% cash-in record. Not a single woman who has won that briefcase has failed to cash in.
That's interesting.
But anyway, Alexa Bliss captured the first spot. She beat Chelsea Green and Mishin. Roxanne Perez beat Becky Lynch and Natalya after Lyra Valkyria interrupted the match and pulled Becky Lynch out and just basically removed her from the match because they were too busy fighting for Rhea to get back involved. Rhea beat Kairi Sane and Zoe Stark after Zoe absolutely obliterated her leg by accident.
Yikers. Oh, dude, did you see that on TikTok?
Yo, you could hear it pop, and that it was. Ugh.
I thought the Sid Vicious leg break was bad, but this.
This was the knee. Sid Vicious broke like his femur. His, like tibia.
No, it was his femur.
It was.
You got it right the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it right the first time.
Yeah, that one was nasty, but like this was like you could just hear her knee go. Rhea Ripley won that match, and then SmackDown's newest acquisition, and I know Francis is so excited about this, Julia. Fucking sim. She made her way into the match and beat Zelina Vega and Charlotte Flair to get her way into the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Now that's a showing of good faith. Yes. And I know we're not doing predictions, but she's not going to win the match.
No. Honestly, I would like Alexa Bliss to win, but I don't know if she will.
Again, we'll get to it.
That really all depends on what happens in these next couple weeks, this next week, basically, because we'll have SmackDown tomorrow, Raw on Monday, and then next week SmackDown to fill in the last 2 spots for both matches.
The go home, yeah.
Yeah. So, depending on how that goes, next week's stream might not even have the full card.
Yeah.
But in that case,
if anything, we can upload something to TikTok.
Yeah. So.
The
women's. I think I'm more excited for the women's ladder match right now. As of this moment, it depends on who they add to the last 2 slots. What are the odds we get El Grande Americano in the men's ladder match?
I was about to say, Scott, they got to get our boy in there.
a couple of things. One, this is personally for Cap. It's very interesting how he thinks that El Grande Americano, Chad Gable are the same person. But
Because they
Francis, if I recall, during that triple threat match with Chad Gable, did you see a lot of luchador moves come from Chad Gable during that match?
I
I
don't
don't think
think I
so,
did,
right?
Scott. I don't think I did.
But
because his lucha
but when you
powers weren't
see
activated
but
when
when
he
you
put the
see
mask on.
but when you see El Grande Americano wrestle, he's doing all the great moves that all great luchadors do, and
He's pulling out
Scott,
all the
because
it's
stops from
almost
Rey
like they're two
Mysterio and El
different people, right?
no,
Santo.
it's not two different people. Because it's like you remember I know you remember the movie The Mask, right? It's the same thing. You put on a lucha mask, suddenly you know
Jim
all the
Carrey,
lucha
great
moves.
movie.
Yeah, it's the same concept. You put on the mask, you become a luchador, you do lucha moves. That's all
Nah,
I'm
they're two
saying.
different guys, right, Scott?
That time, this isn't a fool.
Nah.
We'll see what happens.
We
We
saw
still have.
we saw him get removed while Chad Gable's in an interview.
Mhm.
Exactly. I would love if
But
El Grande Americano was in the
But
men's Money in the Bank.
also other things. Not only is Dom and Finn probably gonna have a feud, but it looks like Dom has once again went on to the next dream girl for every guy, and he keeps getting away. And like the meme said when I
he can't
first
keep
saw it,
getting away with
he
it.
keeps
He
getting away
can't
with
keep getting away with
it.
it.
I don't like
Bro, I don't know how he
he
does it.
doesn't downgrade it, just
Getting,
but it
he's
gets
got.
better and
He
better.
might be Eddie Sun after all. He's got Latino heat.
For real.
But lastly, this card, both cards, I don't know of any one wrestler where I think that they're not going to win this. I mean, especially the men's, like all four of the men's, I can really see any one of them,
Yeah,
any
walking
one of
away
them
with it.
win the title. I mean, if you had to choose some that probably wouldn't, I mean, Ellie Knight he's always been questioned because they always like randomly push him when they want
Yeah.
to. And Penta has currently been on I mean, besides the triple threat match that got him the position, he's kind of been in a losing streak
Unfortunately.
as of late.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, yeah, but 100% I want Alexa Bliss to win this title. But it's kind of crazy for the men, especially because who has the titles. One of them is kind of like an easier target in Jey Uso, but it's also you also have John Cena on the other side, so
Yeah, someone I follow on
you never
Twitter.
know.
You go. You finish it, Scott.
Unless it's like of a personal feud where I feel like the only single person that we know from both sides of who's gonna cash in is Seth, and if Seth wins that, he's most likely gonna go after Jay because I don't see him going after Cena because he doesn't talk about Cena.
And they're both heels.
Yeah, so I'm really happy for this Money in the Bank. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a better one than usual, especially if they don't have 8 people. 8 people is sometimes a little too much.
They used to have 8 people back when it was the WrestleMania opener before it became its own thing. But when it became its own thing, they bumped it down to 6.
Once it became its own gimmick pay-per-view, it's gone down to 6. But I have a vague memory of like at least 1 or 2 years where they did like a 5-man ladder match, and I was like, why would they do only 5?
Yeah,
lack of talent.
Anyway,
injuries probably.
With that being said, I think we only have one last thing to talk about, which was very interesting.
We're gonna take a break from the big dubs and head on down to total nonstop action.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this last
Was it a TNA
subject.
pay-per-view or was it an NXT pay-per-view?
It was a TNA pay-per-view.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we did. You know what, Francis? I'm going to let you introduce it.
So this past weekend, with given for a definition of weekend, and also I just looked it up. My mistake. It was not a TNA pay-per-view. It was at NXT Battleground.
Yeah, I was
we
gonna say
had
it was
NXT.
NXT.
Yeah, it's the this, given the subject that just happened,
Yeah.
you'll see why my confusion.
Yeah.
But our boy, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Joe Hendry, defended the TNA championship at NXT Battleground.
He appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Well, we can believe in him all we want. He lost to Whoop That Trick Williams at Battleground in the main event, sponsored by Doom the Dark Ages. In a really surprising barn burner of a match, but now during the after this, Trick Williams is the first ever WWE signed wrestler to hold a TNA championship, the TNA championship. And what was undeniably one of the bigger shocks we've had this weekend. What are your thoughts on this, you guys?
I think honestly, my initial thought when I saw this was that Joe Hendry's TNA contract is probably almost up and he's bound for the main roster.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Because like
Joe can come to the main roster full time.
Yeah, my thought process was they took the title off of him so this way they can have him transition over to like Monday Night Raw very easily. Because
or SmackDown,
either way. But my logic is the biggest giveaway for me was more what I think Joe Hendry was on Chris Van Vliet's show, and he made a comment because he was asked about what it was like going out for that WrestleMania match against Randy Orton, and he said like his big thing that he took away from it was Triple H looked at him at Gorilla and was like, get used to it because this isn't your last time here. Mm-hmm. So basically, to me, that confirmed that there's already some kind of deal worked out between WWE and Joe Hendry that once his TNA contract is up, he's signing with WWE.
I totally agree. I definitely, well, for one thing, this is going to make the next season of NXT. I don't think Joe's going to be a surprise entrance at Money in the Bank because mainly, remember, this July is the next big TNA pay-per-view. I can't remember which one. It might be Bound for Glory. But they're trying to sell out the UBS Arena.
Yeah.
And Williams, I feel like it's an unknown, blessing that he won that title. Because if you're going to try to help TNA get bumped up, I think this is mainly part of it. That's mainly the deal. Part of the idea they had with this deal with I believe with WWE is that it can help us grow our brand. It can help us compete with places like AEW that shot them over very quickly as number 2 when it came to wrestling. Mm-hmm. And Trick Williams is currently hot in NXT. Oh, yeah. And if you had it in the equivalent of back in the day, you would probably have someone like Kevin Owens, Finn Balor on that spot during the time. But it should definitely help because not only now you have Joe Hendry, which everybody loves doing the clap and reacting to that. I feel like the best way to get quick fans is making sure you get those wrestlers with those, either some corny, some are very cool, but those quick little crowd interactions that we can do. And that really does help try to get more people to watch your show. So if they're trying to fill out an arena, adding him along with Joe Hendry.
Yeah. It's so easy to get over because look at like some of the biggest names.
It's gonna be good.
They all had that like some kind of crowd interaction,
Mm-hmm.
For example, like you had Adam Cole, like the whole Adam Cole baby. Everyone fucking eats that shit up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is gonna be big. It's gonna be very interesting because, like we said, this is gonna be big for both brands. It'll be good for NXT. It'll be good for TNA Because you have someone the caliber of Trick Williams holding your title, even though he doesn't work for you, is, a sign of progress that we would never have had under Vince McMahon.
No.
So
Yeah.
this should be very interesting. I'm curious to see where they go with this.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel like Joe Hendry I will be genuinely surprised if he hasn't signed with WWE by the end of this year.
Yeah. Again, like, you know what? He could probably make a big debut at SummerSlam like he did at WrestleMania, because by the time SummerSlam
is like, maybe SummerSlam is when he signed, because like get through July with this last big pay-per-view with TNA, sell out the UBS arena and this and that.
Exactly.
And then, he frees up his contract, signs with WWE, but they kind of keep it hush hush.
Yeah.
And then have him debut at SummerSlam and fucking go just off on somebody.
He could be a surprise War Games participant for a group.
That is also
that could be
That's
true
what I was
too.
thinking of.
We need somebody, and they say his name, and he appears. And
Because we believe in Joe Hendry.
yeah. I also wouldn't be super surprised if they turned around and added him to Money in the Bank. Because
I mean, he wouldn't win though.
You never know. In all reality, they could turn around and give him the Money in the Bank briefcase,
And he can carry that into UBS to get more people.
Yeah, just to get that pop that he's, it's Mr. Money in the Bank. He's here, this and that, and then he can go on to cash in on fucking like Jay.
That would actually be really. Damn it!
That would be sick if he cashed in on Jay. Or that's the thing. I don't see him cashing in on John Cena successfully unless it's like a crazy, like he has a fucking insane match beforehand. You know, like it has to be one of those moments where it's like Cena has a barn burner of a match with like CM Punk or something, and he's like can barely get to his feet, and Joe Hendry comes out, cashes in, and wins the title. But Jey Uso, I could see them doing.
Sorry if I'm being quiet right now. Just I'm trying to.
You're trying to what now?
No, like I'm looking up I'm trying to look up the name of the show that TNA is doing, and someone's pointing out that TNA is about to sell out 16,000 seats, and AEW can only get 2,000.
AEW can't even fucking sell out a minor league hockey arena.
And TNA is about to sell out a basketball arena.
Yeah. So anyway,
hockey, excuse me.
Yeah. Well, basketball and hockey, they're usually played in the same place.
I would like to do a shout out. To I think we've actually mentioned him, and he currently took a very bad hit during one of the matches. But Adam Cole, I hope you're okay, because they kind of forgot the wrestler's name, but they kind of did a Kevin Owens stunt when he threw his back against the outside of the ring post.
Yeah.
Ouch!
And instead of his back getting hit, it was the top back of his head.
Oof.
Oh.
And hit the tip of the ring, and it did. I know from a past experience of something like that.
You don't want to get the back of your head hurt.
It's not that's a serious injury. You could.
Well, hopefully
that could really fuck things up for him.
Because he probably has at least a concussion, so we'll see what happens there.
Has to.
But
at the very least,
speedy recovery to you, my guy.
Same.
That being said, I do believe that is all for us this week. On behalf of Cap and the rest of us, we hope you enjoy this week. I unfortunately will not be around next week to do my predictions, so the boys here will do my predictions for me, because I will be on vacation, a long-deserved vacation.
Enjoy yourself.
After learning how to walk again.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Let the man sit in an inner tube in a pool on a boat in the ocean.
Let me rest my knee that I fucking destroyed. That being said, I'm Dom.
Got Dash.
And I'm Francis.
Keep it pushing, y'all.